Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us for Pure IT's Tech Roundup, where we highlight a curated combination of technologies, client stories, and other industry-related bits for you to consume. Let's dive in. Today, we have David from HouseTable with us. Hi, David. Thank you so much for joining. So,
Thanks for having me.
David,
It's great to be here.
tell us a little bit about HouseTable, the story behind starting the company, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, HouseTable is a fintech company. We got founded at the very start of 2021. And at that point, it was at the end of COVID. Of course, back then it didn't feel like the end of COVID because we didn't know when the end would be. But we really I've been a serial entrepreneur in the fintech space for a number of years. I've been doing this pretty much my whole career. And when it was time to start something new, I was really passionate about a few trends, right, that I think were converging a lot at the time, and were major needs that were not being addressed in financial services in general. The House Table, I think, was founded with the goal of solving them. The first one was that at that point rates were at a all-time low, right, and of course, that was great days if you're doing cash out refis, all right. But our minds kind of went, hey, what's going to come after this when these rates, inevitably start to rise, right? And the second thing was the aging housing stock that we have in this country, and the housing shortage that is tied to that and tied to other trends as well, right? And what's that going to do for the millions of households, right, that are looking to move into their target neighborhoods, and need a way to afford it and want to live within a certain, type of quality. So that's when I realized, right, that two main things are really poised to be more relevant than ever before. One is home equity lending, and one is home improvements, right? And House Table
Yes.
plays at the combination, right, at the intersection of both of those things. And we basically built an end-to-end solution that enables credit unions to level up their home equity, home renovation lending. We help them offer an up and coming product that more and more lenders are starting to adopt and look at it as a great way for them to differentiate themselves, which we call the renovation HELOCs, which is structured very similarly to a conventional HELOC, but with the core difference being that it is designed exclusively for home improvements and it is underwritten differently, right? It is underwritten primarily based on the post renovation value. So it has a much higher loan to value or LTV. So it expands the borrowing power of the member by an average of 3x. And they can hold on, of course, to their low rates because it does remain a home equity product, right? And then we've built an end-to-end platform that makes it feasible for our credit union partners to offer this in a way that makes sense. And what makes sense means that it's, on one hand, a great user experience for the member, but on the other hand, still remains cost effective and remains risk averse, checks all the boxes for our partners, right? So that includes all the renovation risk management, right? So we make sure the contractors are licensed, are insured, the project is within the appropriate scope and is feasible. We review the plans and the proposals, right? So we kind of handle all that on behalf of our partners. We help with the draws, right? So we enable our credit unions to disperse directly to our contractors or the borrower's contractors as per a payment schedule. And lastly, last but not least, I think this is where we're quite unique and where we kind of focus on is on the appraisal side, right? Is we can actually help the member get clarity in a fully automated, in an AI powered way to get clarity on the value of their home post renovation before they apply. Because a very big pain point for construction or home renovation lending is folks don't have any transparency or visibility, or if even in the right ballpark for this loan, because they don't know what the after renovation value or future value of their home is. So they're forced to do things like pay for an appraisal up front and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of a mixture of things, but that's a little bit about us.
No, you covered a ton there. So what I want to circle back to, because it sounds like you're full kind of offering an end-to-end solution, right? Like through a credit union,
Yes.
you have a credit union partner, a credit union would come to you and say, hey, I really want to be able to offer something like this. I'm either doing it in some form or fashion today, but I want to be able to do it better, different, right? Either through HELOC or maybe now to offer renovation type HELOC product. What's the responsibility of the credit union? Because it sounds like you kind of checked all the boxes for me there. So tell me a little bit, about the credit union's role or what the lift might be on their side.
Yeah, so we've iterated this product, throughout several years with the goal of making the lift as simple as possible for our credit union partners, right? That it shouldn't take, 12 months to roll out or stuff like that. Our goal is that you can roll this out within 3 months. If you have a lot of different steps, or you're maybe larger, maybe it'll take 6 months, but it shouldn't take longer than that. And basically, another big part of what we try to bring to the table is that we don't expect you to have expertise in-house on the renovation or construction side, which is a big deal, right? We don't think that other solutions today kind of bridge that gap, right? If you want to offer a construction lending product, especially one that you might want to hold on your balance sheet, like most of our clients do today, right? Then it's hard to do it, without having someone in-house, and
A
we
whole
kind of
team,
bridge that gap. A whole team, yeah, typically a
right?
whole team, correct.
That's
So we
where,
try and bridge that gap.
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I have to say.
When I worked at a credit union before, there had to be a whole kind of commercial lending team in order to support that effort, that initiative. So it sounds like this is a great kind of scale your organization through this partnership. It sounds like you guys check a lot of the requirements, right? And correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong, SOC 2 compliant, right? This is a big deal in our industry. So wonderful.
we are talking
So
about, yeah.
I know when I was looking at the website, it talks a lot about kind of leveraging AI. Which, fun fact, I work out of California, and it was trying to connect me with a California credit union, which I loved, a predominant credit union. So I thought that was so cool. It was like, hey, we have a credit union near you, if you want to start today. So shameless credit union plug out there, right? You could be the local credit union in your area. But so tell me a little bit about, how AI is leveraged in your tool and platform, and maybe why you're, because when we were talking a little bit, I could sense some passion about the AI and how you leverage it. And so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, AI is a very big passion of mine. Our team are kind of like AI nerds, if I can say so myself. Um,
We're all
but
nerds in some
basically,
way or another.
yeah, it's a nerd podcast or a nerd interview. But yeah, basically, the way I see AI, especially within financial services, is it's the kind of the new age way of being more inclusive, right? Of like financial like inclusivity, right? Because there are limits, in terms of how you can be creative just based on creative ideas, right? And I think especially with regards to underwriting, AI is a great way to consider sources of data or data points that typically aren't considered by traditional lenders, right? And that's kind of been our theme from the get-go in terms of how can we leverage AI, to enable our clients, our FIs, our credit unions to be able to leverage that and offer, more empowering financial products to their member base. And that's been kind of the theme from the get-go. And the way that we do it with us, obviously, is by maximizing the value of our borrowers' home equity, right? So,
Right.
of course, as we know, right, home equity is, if not the largest, the only really like large financial asset that most households have in the U.S. And by being able to consider not just its current value but its future value prior to the improvement, right, that really expands and really financially empowers that homeowner to really leverage that capital, for a variety of different things and access it at the lowest rate possible, because a home equity loan is the most affordable loan out there today for the vast majority of people. And
Right.
that's kind of what the AI is set up to do. Of course, with us, the way it works is, we want to be able to calculate the after renovation value of a borrower's home in a way that's precise, of course, but also quick, transparent, and automated. And the
Mm-hmm.
way it works is we basically have the homeowners take a scan of the interior and exterior of their home through our app. So they upload photos or videos of the interior and exterior of their home. And then we're able to basically run those images through a AI, or we call it the computer vision algorithm, which basically acts like a human. So it sees the pictures that you uploaded, and it analyzes things like the condition of that home, which we've trained based on like industry standards from like Fannie Mae and the the FHA and all that stuff. And then once we have that, then we're able to understand really in a precise way what's this home worth today. Because we have, of course, the AVMs and we leverage those. And then we're able to really get it to a much more precise way with that scan that we collect of the home. And then we've built many like proprietary models as well, which calculates the future value. And then once we ingest the renovation plans or what's actually going to be done within that home, then we're able to get in a really precise way what the value of this house is after renovations. And then the member can see in real time, not just how much they can qualify for, but how that fluctuates based on the improvements they do. So if they're kind of, iterating that process there, and they're kind of debating, do I do my kitchen and my bathrooms, or do I do 2 bathrooms, or, do I throw in my roof, right? So they can actually see how their borrowing power in real time gets impacted based on what they're selecting to do and based on that iteration with their contractors. So I think
now
that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I'm wishing my credit union partnered with you, because I was so some people that at least that I work with know I was considering expanding the footprint of our home, because as we talk about, especially where I live in California, if we bought our house, 7 years ago now, I don't know, whenever we bought our house a while ago, right? With inflation, with the way house prices are changing, with the shortage of housing out here, like if I wanted to buy another home or buy a home with a larger footprint, I'd be taking on not only a higher interest rate, but a bit larger payment. And so I was trying to look at my options with how could I just maybe expand the footprint of my home on my current property. And I was trying to do a lot of what you're saying this tool does on my own, right? I was trying to get the architect and what do I estimate the value of my home to be afterwards? Am I over improving my home? Am I not? What's the cost going to be to me? So as a consumer, I think this really is kind of exciting, because at least in California specifically, I can't speak about everywhere else, but I see a ton of ADUs popping up. I see a ton of people doing like garage conversions, trying to do these different renovations in their home to make the most and maximize their asset. So I think this is very intriguing and very interesting. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing a lot of this with us, because I think it's a revenue generator for our credit unions and it's a need for consumers today. So I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, that is our goal, right? To really empower, homeowners to really maximize their home equity and, leverage that for like financial independence, and financial growth.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, I know that there was something else that was kind of on the radar for you guys that you're currently stepping down the journey on, and you guys are becoming a CUSO. Can you tell me a little bit about that too?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited about that. We were talking to a credit union that we've been in discussions with, just standard, to use our platform, right, as one of our prospective clients. And they brought up the idea, hey, this is a great type of model that can work as a CUSO. And the reason why that is because we are now expanding from just providing a white labeled platform for credit unions to to serve their own member base really, and serve their own borrowers, to also being able to source net new borrowers on our credit union's behalf, right? And we primarily do that through a contractor network that we're expanding, right? We just got licensed as mortgage brokers and we're expanding that state by state. And and I think that it's kind of that latter piece that I think is really the ideal kind of perfect fit for QSO, because it enables us to really do so at scale, right? And originate primarily through credit unions that are looking to ramp up their origination volume and do so in a way that becomes standardized and becomes smooth experience for the borrowers. And of course, we're still very much dedicated to our white label model, and that's open to any credit union of all size and all fields of memberships, right? We can work anywhere from 50 million to 20 billion, right? And we've seen the full gamut, but we're very excited about the QSO on the borrower acquisition side, and we've made some pretty good strides there. So
that's
we still have some room to go. Still some room for some key partners, but we're getting there, so we're pretty excited.
Well, we hope to hear, at least at Tech Roundup, Pure IT, hope to hear how that progresses. And we'd love to have you come back on after the QSO's in place and tell us a little bit more about how now the business has evolved and how you're able to now even expand into, other offerings. So this is very exciting. Anything else to share with us today, David?
I think we covered it, Aaron, but I much
I
appreciate
know.
coming on. It's been great chatting with you.
Really appreciate you coming on, sharing a bit about HouseTable. And then if I'm a credit union, if I want to get in touch with you, do I go through your website? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, you go through our website. We're actually about to launch a brand new, revamped website. So that's pretty cool. Or I can be emailed at david@housetable.com with 3 very simple words.
Perfect.
And yeah, I'd be very happy to chat.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming on today, and we'll see you next time on Tech Roundup.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Aaron.